So today we're going to have a look at Hiplok. No, this isn't Hiplok, but this is. So the time has finally come for us to do a video on this absolute beast. This is the Hiplok DX1000. This is Hiplok's flagship D-Lock, and as you can tell, it's an absolute unit. This thing is sold secure diamond as well as art level 4, and if you don't know what that means, I don't really know what it means. It is extremely good at its job, which is being a lock. I want to give you a little history of Hiplok itself. Now, it was started by two guys named Ben and John, and they created Hiplok because they couldn't find a suitable lock for their bicycles. So they were in the cycling industry, and in the early 2000s, they decided, you know what, we want a good lock that can do everything that we need. And in 2011, they released the first ever Hiplok. And because of the name, you might be able to tell it's a lock that went round your waist when you were cycling, so you had an easy way to carry it. But now they've come all this way and they've created this, which is the Hiplok DX1000. So now we're gonna head up to the lab. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So now that we're in the Infinity Lab, obviously safety first. But yeah, we're going to talk about the DX1000 and its technical specs. Now, this was engineered with FerroSafe, an advanced phosphorus composite material designed to resist high-powered cutting tools, especially angle grinders. Now, this is done using ferromagnetic disruption. The composite structure generates localized eddy currents when exposed to high-speed rotational tools like angle grinders. This dissipates the cutting energy and reduces the tool. Sorry, I got a little bit carried away there. Basically, how it works is that FerroSafe stops angle grinder attacks by destroying the discs themselves, and now it might take quite a few to get through one side, and I say that because the locking mechanism is a double deadbolt system. This means that you have to cut through both sides of the lock for it to actually come out. Now, the shackle itself is a 16mm ultra hardened steel shackle, which is tough enough to withstand hammers, bolt cutters, leverage check, so anything you would find in real world scenarios. I say real world scenarios because people are sometimes worried about picking and bumping, so key picking. Not really a thing in the real world, they've done some studies about it, but if you're worried about that, this uses a high security disc detaining cylinder and helps get picking and bumping. Now, if you think, oh, what if someone drills through the cylinder? That's where the deadbolt system comes in. If someone takes a drill and goes through the cylinder itself, you can't actually unlock it. There's some great videos out there done by Ben at Spike Social. I would highly recommend you to watch that. They've drilled through it, they've cut it, they destroyed the lock, but they show you how tough it withstands everything. I'll link it in the description below. But now that I've got that out of my system, we can move on to the more fun stuff.
So now that we've talked about the tech of Hiplok, as you can tell, it is an insane product. We had a meeting with them and we had this running joke that the tensile strength of the lock was enough to lift a car. So yes, it is a very safe lock, but more importantly, when we're talking about locks, you want to know that it looks good, and this one does scratch that itch. It has got a really nice sleek black design, and the FerroSafe is coated in this black rubber around the whole thing, and that's to ensure that when you put it around your rim, it doesn't scratch it. Now, this is a 125 and it fits around the rear tire. If you have a bigger bike, it will fit around the front tire, but I recommend having a look, or you can also go over the spokes. Cool, so now we've got all of the tech specs out of the way, we're going to do the fun part and get the guys down at Camberley to give this an attack with the angle grinder. So as you can see, we put some marks on the disc itself. Now that's to show you what the Hiplok does to the disc. So we're going to have a before and after. So now we're outside. The first person going to go is Luca. I'm going to get your first impressions of trying to cut through it. So if you want to go ahead, start the new cut. And yeah, first reactions. So that dust you can see, I'm assuming, is the actual disc.
So it actually acquired a little bit of a crowd. Luke, come out to the shop. What did you want to say? What did you say?
Well, interestingly, I was viewing the destruction from within the building. I could actually see from a distance just how much the cutting disc was actually going down. It's like literally you could see all the dust just flying off it. So yeah, it obviously does a great job looking at it from distance. Without having personally angle grinded it, I couldn't tell you for certain. But
well, actually, in a second you will be angle grinding it once Luke is finished. Luca, have you got anything to say about it?
It is incredibly tough to angle grind. I mean, take a look at the disc. There's barely anything left. It's just a load of dust. Couple of sparks, but I couldn't manage to get through it. I'll need a couple more of these ones and a couple batteries definitely to even try and get through it the first bit.
Here we go, live destruction testing. I'm slightly excited, slightly nervous because I'm inept with power tools, but we'll see how we get on, shall we? Well, in that short time alone, you can see how much that disc has gone down. You can feel how much like kickback it's giving you back into it. So it's obviously doing its job properly. I'm amazed at how good that is. It works, amazing.
So I've just come out to see what all the commotion is. Obviously these boys are trying to cut through this Hiplok, so we're gonna give it a go. Yeah, that ain't doing nothing.
Okay, so I'm just gonna give it its last little hurrah. Safety on, of course. The disc has gone down a considerable amount, but I'm just gonna finish it off and we're gonna see if we can get through. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's pretty much done. I'm gonna try and get a shot of the Hiplok itself, but it's maybe gone in like half a centimeter. But I'm gonna get another disc as well and show you the steel scaffolding that it's on. And I'm gonna try and cut through this so you can see how tough this is compared to that with the exact same disc. Let's go change it. So we're gonna quickly cut through the steel on the scaffolding. I just wanna show you, so we put a new disc on. This is what the old disc looks like after about maybe 3 minutes of total grinding time and maybe half a centimeter. I'll put in some B-roll of what it looks like. But now I'm just gonna chuck this in my pocket, keep it as a little souvenir. I'm gonna try and grind through this so you can see what it's like. Now, oh, blade is stuck, but that has gone all the way through. So you know this is a legit grinding disc and it has barely done anything to the disc itself.
So I've been watching all of this unfold from behind the camera, and one thing I've noticed compared to my old job is the amount of discs it takes. I used to work in fabrication, and in that we would cut huge steel bars, and this tiny little lock here is taking triple what a bar 5 times its size would. It's really, really impressive.
That concludes the video of Hiplok. I hope you enjoyed it. This thing is absolutely insane. It's been a pleasure trying to cut through it, if that's even a thing. It's been extremely hard to do, and as you can see on this side, this is the same one. It's barely anything gone through. That's half a centimeter that's gone through after a full disc. It will take so much to get through it. Let us know what you think in the comments below if you're gonna get one for yourself. Ride safe, and we'll see you all soon. There's a van behind you.